definitions of any of the words that you're using, especially the small words like if, such, that, for, which, and, but, words like that. Nobody can tell me what those words mean. I know from experience over many years. Nobody knows what these words mean. They use them, but they don't understand them. So, because these words specify the relationships between the different grammatical parts of the sentence, they're actually critical to the meaning of the sentence. And like, for example, the word that has at least 16 separate and distinct meanings. So if you encounter the word that, or such, or for, or which, or by, in a sentence, and you don't know the correct meaning, maybe you get the whole sentence wrong, because it connects two parts of the sentence in a certain relationship. So if you guess the wrong relationship, then you completely misunderstand what the sentence is trying to say. So you have to become familiar with all of the definitions of the common words of the English language and how they're used. And this is going to be a whole adventure, because now you're going to have to actually learn grammar and syntax. Huh? For example, the word that in the sentence, I had a wagon that was red. Huh? The word that means, anybody?
The wagon.
No. It's not a pronoun. In that sentence, the word that is a conjunction. And what it does is it signifies the beginning of an adjectival phrase. A subordinate clause. You're going to have to understand what all these things are, because that is the meaning of that word, that, in that context. And every time I mentioned the word that in the previous sentence, it had a different meaning. You have to become familiar with all those meanings of the word that. Then when you see it, you'll say, oh, I know what it means in this particular context. Otherwise, you are simply guessing. Simply guessing. And then you wonder why, I've been chanting all this time and I haven't seen Krishna. Huh? Or I've been a devotee for all these years. I've had devotees tell me that. I've been a devotee for 25 years and I don't feel like I have made any advancement in all that time. I came in the first 6 months to a certain platform and I really haven't moved beyond that since then. I know many devotees, like many of my god brothers and god sisters, feel like this. Even if they won't admit it, it's actually true. I know one guy who he's a temple president of an ISKCON temple. And I've known him since he joined. And to this day, he mispronounces the prayers to the spiritual master in exactly the same way that he did in the first week that he was a devotee. To this day, 35 years later, he still cannot pronounce the prayers to his spiritual master properly. Now, that immediately makes me think, well, what else did he not get? What else has he got wrong? If he got that wrong, there must be so many other things he got wrong. The same devotee, I said to him one time, well, they're changing Prabhupada's books. This is a very bad thing. And he goes, well, they're just changing the words. It doesn't change the meaning. What? Yeah, you see? So these are the attitudes that lead to these kinds of amazingly nonsense ideas that it's okay to change the spiritual master's books. Stuff like, no, you can't do that. I mean, if you can do it, but then you ruin everything. So, when you first begin this process of clearing words, this is what's called word clearing, or clearing words, or clearing misunderstood words. By looking up every word in the dictionary, at first it's very laborious and time-consuming. But sooner or later you're going to learn all those definitions, and then it becomes quicker and quicker. Until now, I don't even have to look up the words. I already know the definitions. What does it mean? Fill up my glass. What does the word up mean? Up?
Position.
No, it doesn't mean position. See?
Top the glass.
If I was going to fill the glass up, that means I would fill the glass on the top shelf or something like that. No, it doesn't mean position. It means in or into a condition or state of fullness or completion. Fill the glass up.
To the top of the glass.
No. Fill the glass until it is completely full. Isn't that what it means? Fill it up. You go to the gas station. Fill it up. That means fill it into a state of completion or fullness until you can't get any more in. See? That's what it means. But there are 16 other definitions of the word up. And they all mean something distinct and different. I went up to see my brother.
He lives on the hill.
Yeah, well, you see, it's not that simple. These words have different meanings in different contexts. And you have to be familiar with those meanings to know what they are when you see them. Otherwise, you're just guessing, just like you were just guessing. I've been pounding on kāmān ever since I've known him, to use the dictionary to look up words.
I do. I just forget them very quickly.
But the first 6 months he didn't believe me.
I did.
Now he believes me, but
I was in a tent.
we had a dictionary. Okay, so anyway, are there any other questions?
Yes. From Keiju. Is it not said that it's as good as being in Vaikuntha, even in the material existence? Even in this material existence, if in Krishna consciousness? If
you're in Krishna consciousness. But see, what is Krishna consciousness? It's not some ritual, it's not some religion, it's not belonging to some organization, it's not putting on a certain kind of clothes, it's not parading around and saying that you believe in a certain book, it's not belonging to a particular club or organization or anything to do with this material world, because it's consciousness. And we have, I don't know, we've spilled gallons of ink, digital, of course, over this idea of what is consciousness. I'm not going to go into it now because it's a whole big, long, complex explanation, but we have articles in the book on transontology very specifically about what is consciousness. And consciousness, as it turns out, is extremely complex. It's not simple at all. Even material consciousness is not simple. But to speak of spiritual consciousness, spiritual consciousness has all these different shades and qualities that are extremely subtle. These are all described in the Nectar of Devotion. Everyone should read this book, and especially the last section, about the last 1/3 of the book, which is about the science of rasa. Because transcendental consciousness is completely based on rasa. Rasa means the ecstatic, transcendental emotion, the quality of our consciousness of Krishna. See? To say in the beginning that I am a servant of Krishna, this is a very basic introductory form of rasa. I'm the servant of Krishna. Actually, rasa is a tremendous science. And if anybody understands even a little bit about rasa, then they become immediately an expert writer, musician, dancer, or whatever art they want to pursue. Because all art is based on rasa. All art is based on emotion. All art, real art, is based on our relationship with Krishna and expressing that in different ways. So we should understand this science of rasa, which is given in the Vedic scriptures. All the examples are there in śrī-bhagavān, and the analysis of those examples is there in the Nectar of Devotion. So you have to read all this stuff, because it's just so huge. We could spend the next 6 months discussing the subtleties of the science of rasa, but it's all